Well, this morning I'm visiting with Dr. Coleman, and I'm so glad you're here. You're one of my favorite people.
You're very kind.
Well, you're kind of an inspiration, and you bring great donuts every single Sunday.
Well,
So there you go. Doc, I know that you have started this respite care program. How long has that been running?
as I recall, August of 2014,
Wow.
and we had a chairman of the board named Pat Haygood, and she, I think, more than anyone else, was responsible for turning this church from an inward-looking body into an outward-looking body. And she had a dozen different suggestions on how we might proceed, and one of them was respite care. And so in August, I started putting things together in the gathering area. It was the middle of October before my first client came, but every Friday I came, sat there and waited. And middle of October, my first client came, and we, from that point on, moved from 1 to 10 different clients on a given Friday, and we had 5 or 6 people who came regularly to help. And it took that many. If we had 10 people, it took 6.
Sure.
Because some of those were wandering around the church. Somebody had to go wander with them.
Well, that's such a personal one-on-one
Yes.
situation anyway.
And we had from 9 till 4, 10 till 4, and fed lunch and took a nap. And we had reclining chairs for everybody to take a nap who wanted to. We played 42, and we had people who could beat you playing 42 who couldn't tell you what they had for breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
But they could remember the
I had a mother
game.
like that.
And they could remember the games. And it was delightful for me and for the folks who were there. Everybody thought we were doing it for the caretakers. We were doing it for the folks. And the folks loved it. And they'd play rummy, and they'd play 42, and sleep and talk and tell stories from their childhood or their military experience or whatever. It was a delightful time.
Well, did you have a personal story that you thought was very special? Just 1 or 2 instances?
And well, my favorite, I guess, was a gentleman who was a World War II vet. Really, really nice guy. Wore cowboy boots and cowboy shirt. Came in, and I promise you, he could draw the worst hand in the world and beat you playing 42.
Well, that was my daddy.
He was amazing. He was
T.
absolutely amazing.
That's so cool.
And he didn't talk much, but he talked, he probably didn't know what was going on all the time, but he knew 42.
Well, so how long have you been a member of this church?
November of 2001,
Wow.
I think.
We've been blessed a long time. It's great.
We moved out here in November of 2001. My wife was a religion major at TCU, and I moved her to Houston, and she continued at the University of Houston. Finally graduated from Howard Payne with a religion major, and so we were church folks. We were charter members of a church in Bel Air, and went to church everywhere we were.
Did you grow up in the church?
I grew up in a Presbyterian. When I was a junior in high school, my best friend belonged to the Christian church. So I started going to church with him. Met a girl.
No, not
Yes.
you, dog.
And I enjoyed that. I met my wife at the only church camp I ever went to.
Oh, how cool is that?
And it was lightning strike. She was the best thing I ever met, and the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. So
How old were you?
I was 18 then. We got married when I was 19.
Oh, my goodness. What a pup. I love it. I love it.
She had to sign my application for a marriage license because I was underage as a male and she was okay as a female.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. You had to get your wife's consent to marry her.
That's right.
In writing. I love that one. That's precious. Oh, that is so cool. And had children. Tell me about your family.
Well, my family, my father was a doctor, my mother was a nurse anesthetist. They divorced when I was 4, and my dad remarried when I was 7. I had a great stepmother. She was a good lady. But I kept up with my mother. In fact, she came and lived with us in the same town we were in 1965, and died when she was 100.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I'm aiming for 100.
Well, I hope you make it, because you sure are a lot of fun right now.
And I had an older brother and a younger sister who was 11 months younger than I was, and a younger brother who was 7 years younger. He was my half-brother. But we had a good time together. My dad had farmland as well as being a doctor, so I grew up farming and had a good time. Anyway, that's all I need to tell you about me.
And don't you love having that farming background with that great work?
Yes, indeed. In fact, my dad told me when I graduated from high school, I could either stay on the farm or go to medical school.
Oh,
and
choices.
I said, Dad, I believe I'll go to medical school.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to ECU and Baylor Medical School and went back to Fort Worth to John Peter Smith, did 2 years there, and then went to Brownwood to practice for 18 years.
Did you?
And then went to work for Blue Cross Blue Shield for 25 years.
Wow.
Retired when I was 70.
Wow. Boy, you hung in there.
Well, I enjoyed every day of it.
Well, you do everything that way, Doc. That's why you don't have any wrinkles like me.
Oh, look out.
You look terrific. So how do you stay so healthy?
Well, 4 days a week, I go to Freedom Physical Therapy, and I ride a stationary bike, 3.6 miles, with a resistance of 5 in 20 minutes.
Wow.
And it's enough to stir me up a little.
That's great. And how long have you been doing that?
3 years.
Isn't that Freedom Place a great place?
Oh, yeah, I love it.
I actually went and had my golf swing analyzed out there. And it hadn't gotten much better because I haven't exercised every way she told me to. But I'm so proud of you, Doc. And I'm so glad you're my friend.
Well, you're a very nice lady, and you and Bruce bring a lot to the church. I appreciate that.
One of the things I love the most is your birthday cards every year. I look so forward to that. That is such a uplifting, necessary discipleship, pure and simple. My mother did that for everybody.
I enjoy that too.
And I really enjoyed. It was too fun. I read my cards from both of you this morning. It was really fun. But it's such a joy to have you enrich all of us. And you just need to know once in a while how much you are appreciated. And you ought to see us in the kitchen when Doc shows up on Sunday mornings. It is a hug fest. But thank you so much for doing this for us, Doc.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure, and you've been very kind.
Do you have anything other special story that you might want to close with? Anything just that's happened really great?
There's so many good things that have happened here, and so many people that I've met. Some are gone now, but that's the price of getting old.
Well, it is. It is. Well, I just love you, and don't ever forget that.
Thank you, ma'am.
And God knows how much He loves you.
Well,
because He lets you keep
God
cycling.
has been good. I have been blessed. I have 3 great children and 8 great grandchildren and 8 going on 9 great grandchildren.
Oh my goodness.
And they're all great.
What a great lineage. That's amazing. Well, they deserve the guidance that you have to share, that's for sure.
Well.
And I love it when we're in Sunday school. Doc, you always remind me of John Wayne in a way. You may walk softly, but you can carry a big stick when it comes to scripture. You know what you're talking about. And it's awesome. And to those of us that haven't known you as long as I wish I had, but I'm getting to be enriched now, I really appreciate all you offer.
Well, thank you very much, and right back to you.
Thank you, dear.